I'm Richard Lewis reporting for cadred.org, and even though I vowed I wasn't going to do any CSGO work ever again, there was perhaps one man at the LAN that could make me renege on that promise, and it is my old friend FeTiSh. Been going a long time, so as have I. And he's in Copenhagen Wolves now, just in case you couldn't tell. So let's start the interview with something that you probably is not expecting me to say. You're one of the most successful CSS players of all time. You've won a LAN pretty much, no, not pretty much, actually every year since the game came out, and now you're transitioning into CSGO, which you've always been really critical of as a game. How are you finding the game so far, and how are you managing to stay motivated for someone with such a long fucking history?
Well, the motivation part, it's right now, as I told you before, a post-interview, I got a lot of work, so it's hard keeping up with the... But motivation is I've got 4 great teammates playing with me, and we have a lot of fun when playing. And then I had a break for like half a year, 8 months or something, when I stopped CSS, and I kind of missed gaming again. Yeah. So yeah, that gave me, that was the motivation, and the team is great. So, but yeah, I've been critical of CSGO, and I still am at some points of the game. I still think that the smokes, well, it's nice that smokes works in this game, but if you're able to put down your smokes in the correct, like on Inferno in middle, if you smoke out like 20 seconds after each other all the time, you can pretty much grey out middle all game long. So I think that the round time should be changed to 2 minutes instead of 1:45, because then you wouldn't force teams to just rush through smokes, which they sometimes have to do now.
Maybe even longer then, because obviously there's still, you could always save a smoke back to create that kind of pressure, right?
Well, when looking at it, we have played on 2-minute servers, because some of the Danish host servers cannot do 1:45 for some odd reason. Thank you, QDK. But some of the servers can't do 1:45. So we've been playing on 2-minute servers for some time, and it works. I just feel like it works better. But in general, CSGO has improved a lot. It still does require a lot of FPS, which, for instance, my computer doesn't really love, but, well, can't do anything about it.
So the old school guys are still, I mean, I remember when people were playing Source and no one cared about FPS. Like if you had 60 FPS, that was a big deal. So FPS, fuck FPS, it's overrated. Right, so let's talk about the team. I think you guys are kind of perceived to be, like, first of all, a very professional organisation, it's got to be said, have made leaps and bounds, stepped out of kind of the dark days that we all know, those stories that have come out now, and have made some great progress. But equally as a team, you're now kind of perceived to be the best in Denmark, very strong players in Europe, although maybe that changes after the Western Wolves result, I don't know. How are you kind of finding it being at the top and you know, kind of progressing and kind of pushing and chasing teams like Virtus Pro, NiP, you know, the big players?
Well, you only say big players because they were like the stars in 1.6, but we were equal to them in Source. I don't really regard them as being any better. I did watch 1.6, but I don't think that they are like... they're really good, like Forrest and Get Right and so on. They're really good players, but we have really good players as well. It is kind of demoralizing to watch all those fanboys saying that all Source players suck. But then again, it's nice proving them wrong. But regarding to the best team in Denmark, I would say that we're pretty even with Western Wolves and Fnatic. I wouldn't put anyone over the others.
Well, the Danish scene's famously quite incestuous, you know, I mean, not literally have sex with each other's families. What I mean is, of course, that you're all playing each other's teams, and you all know each other's games so very well. So, I mean... Is it perhaps more difficult in a way to establish yourself within the Danish scene, given that fact, than it is to maybe come up to a European event like this and to perform really well?
No, I actually think that to establish yourself in the Danish scene is really easy. Because we have so many good tournaments, we have so many good lands. A guy like Sui, you know, from Slab, has done so many things for gaming. He picked up CSS when there was only 8 or 13 teams attending the events, and then a few years later they got a full event booked with only Source players. So he has done a lot for the scene, and 1.6 as well. And we got Explain and Gaming.dk hosting leagues and getting in sponsors. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and all of that combined just produce a lot of talent. So I think it's really easy for you to establish yourself as a player if you want to.
You've played in a lot of great organisations down the years. I couldn't remember them all. I probably should. how does Copenhagen Wolves kind of rank? Because I see you've got nice bling caps on and nice tops. They got a very prominent LCS team, in League of Legends. They surpassed expectations as well last season in LCS. I mean, they're seen as a real big bona fide gaming organisation now. So honestly, Henrik to Richard, how does it rank?
Up at the top, we haven't. I can't complain about anything in our stay in Copenhagen Wolves at all. I can't put a finger on anything. Well, it could happen that we get to a point where we can't disagree with the organization, but for now, I'm really happy about staying here. I know there's been a lot of problems with the LCS team, or when they had the LCS team, and then with the Wolves, but we weren't involved with that. It wasn't part of our team. And it shouldn't be. The team should be split up, and we shouldn't be treated as one organization with one team. So I don't have anything. I'm really pleased at staying at Copenhagen Wolves and being here.
Well, let's talk about coming here as well, because again, you've played at all sorts of events down the years, the biggest, the smallest. How many DreamHacks have you actually made it to?
I think this is my third or fourth. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Okay, so what does DreamHack mean for a long-standing player like yourself? Is this a special event?
Well, the two first DreamHacks I went to, we were sitting at tables made of like cardboard or something like that, and Source were treated like the worst tournament of all. We were forced to stay and wait for the prize ceremony at the first event, only to realize the Source wasn't good enough to be shown on the stage. So they forced us to wait 3 hours to do nothing, and then the bars here in Sweden, they closed really, really late. Oh, really, really early, sorry. So we were just sitting there waiting to do nothing, and then we wanted to go out. Everything was closed. So, well, I know that now it's one of the main games, and CSGO is one of the main games and being treated as a professional game, but I haven't had pleasant experiences here before.
It must suck as well, because I know when I go to Danish events, like, you get to have a good drink and a party, Swedish drinking laws, and it's a completely dry venue here. So is it a bit of a culture shock for you guys?
Nah, we know. When driving here, the Swedish police love to stop Danish cars, because we usually import a lot of beer, so...
Okay, so let's talk about expectations for this tournament. I mean, we've already seen a few upsets. NIP have dropped points against Western Wolves. What targets have you set yourselves as a team, and who do you think you guys are going to have to beat here to, win it, if that's what you've aimed for?
Making it out of the group was our first goal. Mm-hmm. And then tomorrow, well, if NIP right now, as it stands right now, if they beat Team X, we have a 33% chance of drawing NIP tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And beating NIP is, well, that's never easy. I can't sit here and say that, well, we have to beat NIP, because, well, let's face it, that's not really gonna happen, is it? Yeah. Well, we might get lucky and then play really, really well, but they've won like a million games in a row, and then they've lost a few.
But NIP are beatable right now. They're losing games online, they're losing games at LAN now, I mean, maybe we've seen the crest of the NIP wave, so to speak. Maybe their time is over.
Well, I do agree that the top teams are more equal now, that NIP is not that dominant anymore. But if you made a poll between all the top teams and asked everybody who they thought was the best team, NIP was still gonna come out of top. Even when you play them online in just practice and stuff like that, they're still really, really good. They have the talent in their team to just, dominate. So, I think that they're really, really good and really, really strong. So it kind of depends on who we draw tomorrow. I would love to beat NIP, but it's just going to be really, really hard.
Does the CSGO scene need teams like yourself to step up, so to speak? Because everyone's getting real fucking bored of NIP winning everything. I mean, seriously, I think, and there's no disrespect to NIP, because obviously I know the guys and they're great to interact with, but it was like very games in Source, right? They just won everything, and everyone was just like, oh, fucking hell, when's someone going to beat them, and we've seen them lose to Virtus Pro, which people were saying, oh, maybe that's a fluke. Now that they're losing more often, I mean, do we need to start seeing more varied results like we had in 1.6, where anyone could win any tournament?
Yeah, definitely. Well, when you have one dominating team, that just shows that the rest of the teams are so far behind. When you have switching winners, it's just like a more even top. And yeah, that is definitely preferable. Even though I would love to dominate the scene, but well, it's better for the competitive scenes that we got a lot of talent and we got a lot of strong teams that are almost equal, and with a lot of great tournaments online and LAN events as well. teams are gonna be playing more and more, and when they play more and more, they're gonna improve. So yeah, I think that most of the top teams are catching up to NIP.
This is kind of more of a general question. It taps into kind of what we alluded to at the start, but do you ever, as a long-standing player, like, do you ever feel a little bit regretful, like, of all the games they could have played, like, to end up here where we are now? Because I don't know if CSGO as an esports really panned out, like, as we have hoped. So, I mean, do you ever have any kind of regrets at dedicating so much time to Counter-Strike?
No, not at all. I've had a lot of great memories. All the travels and all the visits to different countries, I couldn't have had that just playing football or handball or whatever popular sport you might have in your country. I wouldn't have had any of those opportunities. Like, it's like 1 out of a million becomes even just a good football player or a good something else and gets to travel and stuff. So no, I don't regret it, not for a minute.
I don't usually do this, but I'm doing it all at DreamHack. Everyone's getting shout-outs, and I know you've got sponsors to thank now, and you know, it's probably. Come on, let's see how professional you can be, Henrik. Come on, hit me with it.
I'd like to thank SteelSeries and Adidas and Komplett.dk for supporting us. You guys rock. Last but not least, I would like to thank Jihan, our trusted manager. He puts a lot of effort into the team, and he books everything for us, and he's generally just a really, really nice guy, bar when he pukes in a room.
That's it. He's gonna ask me now if we can cut that bit from the interview. He's so fucking paranoid about it all. But no, it's in there. I don't edit. So look, to all the people out there at Canada, do stay tuned. We're gonna have more interviews like this one. Maybe not CS:GO related. I'll see how I'm feeling. But certainly this is a legend. So you've been very lucky to hear from him. Do stay tuned for all of our coverage from here at DreamHack Summer 2013.